When you sit down to meditate, what exactly are you trying to do? Are you performing a mechanical technique to quiet the brain? Or are you trying to discover something that is already there? The most common modern approach is heavily influenced by Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. It treats meditation as a method of suppression. You focus your attention, push away intrusive thoughts, and force the mind into stillness. Ancient texts like the Mandukya Karika catalog exactly what you are fighting against. There is vikshepa, or active distraction. There is laya, the dullness or sleepiness that creeps in. And there is kashaya, the latent desires and past impressions pulling your attention away. If you define meditation purely as a battle against these three forces, your practice becomes a fragile, exhausting game of whack-a-mole. You spend years fighting your own psychology just to catch a fleeting moment of peace. In the 10th century, a Kashmiri text called the Mokṣopāya, which later became widely known as the Yoga Vāsiṣṭha, offered a sharp critique of this struggle. Its central teacher, sage Vāsiṣṭha, argued that wrestling the mind into a stone-like apathetic trance does not bring you closer to actual liberation. If the goal is simply to have a blank mind, you achieve that every night in deep sleep. Instead of mechanical suppression, Vāsiṣṭha proposes vikāra, or self-inquiry. This is the direct, non-judgmental observation of the self and the nature of reality. True inner tranquility, or sama, cannot be achieved by forcing the mind into submission. It requires shifting how you perceive the world you are meditating within. To execute this self-inquiry, the Mokṣopāya maps reality into three distinct spaces. The outermost layer is bhutakasa, the physical space of material reality. Other philosophies have specific ways of handling this physical space. Advaita Vedanta suggests the physical world is an illusion masking a real substratum, like a rope mistaken for a snake. Kashmir Saivism argues the world is a real manifestation of divine will. The Mokṣopāya rejects both. Vāsiṣṭha reasons that physical objects possess no inherent boundaries. They are mental configurations that appear solid only through repetitive cognitive habit. Once you recognize that matter has no real substratum, no rope beneath the snake, the material world is revealed as an absolute non-entity. If the physical world is literally empty, trying to find spiritual freedom by physically withdrawing from it, like hiding in a cave, misses the problem entirely. This brings us to the second space, Chittakasa, or the space of the mind. This is the realm where the illusion of the physical world is actually generated. The mind builds this illusion through vasanas, repetitive cognitive habits, and latent impressions. Through sheer repetition, these mental habits make the external world appear solid. Beyond the mind is the third space, Cittacasa. The text defines it as the infinite space of undivided consciousness, existing in all things. Through discrimination, a practitioner stops fighting mental habits. Instead, they recognize they are this pure witness, where the mind arises and dissolves. In this perspective, the seeker rests as the ocean itself, effortlessly observing the ripples of the mind without being defined by them. This chart maps how recognition matures, using the Tripura Rahasya to trace an evolution of focus. It begins with Dhyāna, or forced contemplation. You use willpower to push away interruptions. This evolves into Savikalpa Samadhi, a state of uninterrupted focus that still requires effort. The ultimate goal of the Mokṣopāya is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is unmoded, effortless awareness, where repose continues on its own without initial resolve. As the Ashtavakra Gita describes it, when the mind rests, it ceases to be an obstacle. It becomes a peephole through which you directly perceive reality. This maturation marks a shift into permanent awareness, an awakening where the struggle to maintain a state is replaced by the reality of being it. The result of this permanent recognition is Jivan Mukti, or liberation while living. A liberated person doesn't vanish from society. The texts describe them acting like painted figures, engaged in daily duties, yet maintaining an unbroken inner silence. Because they no longer identify with their body or their mind, they navigate the chaos of life without accumulating psychological distress. But if meditation matures into continuous awareness and technique vanishes entirely, how does a liberated person actually make decisions? What does it look like to live without effort? We explore the psychology of the living sage in the next episode.